My roommate loved to play games by stealing my food, so I gave her a taste she'll never get out of her mouth. In college I shared a 3-bedroom house with 2 other people. One of my housemates was a spoiled rich girl named Beatrice. We had 2 refrigerators in the kitchen, one large one that was originally in the house and we all had shared, and a small older one that a friend gave me before he moved away, which became exclusively for my use. Even though the house was in a nice neighborhood, it was pretty woodsy and we did occasionally have a rat problem with them getting into the house, which I solved with rat traps. I didn't enjoy killing the rats, but there was no other effective way of dealing with them, so I did what I had to do. Beatrice was just a squeamish little drama queen who felt she had to make a big show about how disgusted she was by the thought of being anywhere near a dead rat, whenever I showed her a rat I caught. Fast forward a few weeks or months, I eventually became aware that Beatrice was stealing my food. We didn't normally share food in the house but each bought and made our own. If she had asked nicely I'd have readily shared with her, or if she was obviously starving I'd have offered. One time I remember I had just made a plate of steamed fresh vegetables with melted cheese and soy sauce on it, and out of the corner of my eye I watched Beatrice stab a nice cheesy Brussels sprout off my plate with a fork and pop it into her mouth. She didn't realize I had seen her do that, but for the next few minutes I gained some delightful schadenfreude at her expense by talking to her while looking right at her, and she had a very difficult time trying to reply meaningfully with the whole Brussels sprout still in her mouth. I knew what she'd done and it was kind of trivial, so I didn't blow up about it or anything like that, but that incident alerted me to how stealing my food was kind of a game to Beatrice. Like she thought I was stupid compared to her cleverness and that I would never figure her out. She kinda had that kind of personality, and even though she had plenty of her own food I guess she enjoyed getting into mine. I used to buy some pretty nice cheeses, maybe that was a big draw for her. So I started paying closer attention to my food and marking bottles and things like that once I caught on that Beatrice was the kind of person who'd steal from her housemates. Soon enough I began to notice telltale signs that she had gone through my fridge while I wasn't home, taking little nibbles and shavings from anything she could. The cheese especially was obvious that she'd cut pieces off because she'd do it in sloppy ways that I never would. I didn't want to raise the issue to a level of confrontation with Beatrice, preferring to remain on otherwise good terms with her. Then one day we got some more rats in the house, and I caught one in a rat trap when I was the only person home. Suddenly inspiration came to me, and I wrapped the dead rat in the smallest piece of aluminum foil that would just barely cover him up in one layer, with only maybe 1/8 of an inch of overlapping seam at the most. Then I placed that assembly into a small plastic baggie with a rubber band around it, with a single hair under the rubber band so I could easily tell if my little dead rat package had been opened. It was only the second day after I had left it on the bottom shelf of my refrigerator that I came home from school and saw that the aluminum foil was all crinkled up and the baggie wasn't wrapped smoothly around it anymore. I only wish I could have been a fly on the wall watching Beatrice gagging in revulsion and suppressing the urge to barf as she rewrapped the package, especially because it required a lot of handling to get the skimpy piece of aluminum foil to cover up the dead rat completely. For a while afterward I would put a secret detective hair under the gasket of my refrigerator before going to school in the morning, but it was never disturbed and my cheese never got chopped on in funny ways again either, so I knew Beatrice learned her lesson and stayed out of my refrigerator. She never said anything about the incident and neither did I, but she found another place to live within a couple of months. It was nice to see her go.